Some things Japan does are so well thought out that the moment you see them working, you immediately wonder why nobody else has done the same. School lunches engineered to meet precise nutritional standards, so every child eats a balanced meal every single day. Public misting stations built into the city, so stepping outside in peak summer heat comes with instant relief rather than instant regret. And rooftop beer gardens open every summer evening, so that a cold drink with a city view is never more than an elevator ride away. Japan doesn't just do things differently, it does them so well that once you experience it, going back to the old way feels like a step backwards. Today, we're counting down 14 Japanese ideas that should exist worldwide. Watch until the end because number 14, age simulation training suits used by nurses to experience what elderly patients feel, shows how Japan turned empathy into a training standard the rest of the world hasn't thought to adopt yet. Number 1. School lunch nutritional standards. Japan's school lunch program, known as Kyushoku, provides every student with a hot, balanced meal prepared in the school kitchen daily, meeting government-mandated nutritional standards that specify calorie targets, protein content, calcium levels, and vegetable variety for each age group. The meals are designed by qualified nutritionists employed by the school system and changed daily to prevent repetition and maintain balanced intake across the week. Rice, miso soup, grilled fish or meat, vegetables, and milk are standard components. Seasonal ingredients are incorporated based on what is locally available. Students eat in their classrooms with their teachers rather than in a separate canteen, reinforcing the meal as a shared daily experience rather than a break in the school day. Older students take turns serving the meal to classmates, building responsibility alongside the nutritional benefit. Japan decided that every child deserves a genuinely nutritious hot meal every school day and built the infrastructure to deliver it without making it optional or dependent on family circumstance. Number 2. Outdoor misting stations for summer heat. Japan installs public misting stations in busy pedestrian areas, outside train stations, along shopping streets, and at outdoor event spaces that spray an ultra-fine water mist into the surrounding air, dropping the local temperature by several degrees during the brutal heat of Japanese summer. The mist is produced at a pressure that causes the droplets to evaporate almost instantly on contact with the air rather than landing on skin or clothing as liquid water. The cooling effect is immediate, and the mist is fine enough that you walk through it without getting wet. Japan's summer heat is genuinely extreme. High 30s, high humidity, direct sun for hours at a time. Walking any significant distance between air-conditioned spaces is a physical challenge that no amount of light clothing fully addresses. The misting station creates a pocket of cooled air in exactly the locations where people are most exposed, treating outdoor summer heat as a public comfort problem with an infrastructure solution installed at street level. Number 3. Train and station cleanliness. Japan's train carriages and station environments are maintained to a cleanliness standard so consistently high that arriving from another country and stepping onto a Japanese platform for the first time produces a visible and immediate contrast. Carriages are cleaned between services by dedicated crews who work through the interior in a precisely timed operation, folding seat headrests, collecting litter, and wiping surfaces before the next service boards. Station platforms are swept and mopped on regular schedules posted publicly. Toilets are cleaned multiple times daily and inspected on a logged timetable. The standard applies uniformly. A rural branch line station maintains the same baseline as a central city hub. The cleaning is not reserved for visible or high-traffic areas. It is applied everywhere as a consistent operational commitment, rather than a reactive response to visible dirt. Japan treated the cleanliness of public transit infrastructure as a service standard rather than a maintenance task, and produced an environment where traveling by train is a genuinely pleasant experience from the moment you walk through the gate. If you're enjoying this so far, go ahead and tap like. It tells YouTube you want more of Japan's clever everyday innovations. And if you love discovering things you didn't even know existed, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this list. Trust me, the next ones are even cooler. Number 4. Rooftop beer gardens. Japan's department store rooftop beer gardens open every summer for evening service, transforming the unused roof of a commercial building into an open-air bar with city views, cold draft beer, light food, and an atmosphere that makes an ordinary weekday evening feel like an occasion worth leaving the house for. The format is accessible rather than exclusive. Prices are comparable to a standard bar. No reservation is required for most venues. The combination of elevation, open air, cold beer, and a view of the city at dusk produces an experience that costs almost nothing to access and feels significantly more valuable than the price suggests. For city residents without private outdoor space, the rooftop beer garden provides a genuinely pleasant place to spend a summer evening that requires no planning, beyond taking the elevator to the top floor. Japan put a bar on a roof, opened it every summer, and produced one of the most consistently enjoyable seasonal experiences available in any Japanese city at any price point. Number 5. Stacking car parking garages. Japan's automated multi-story parking systems receive a vehicle at street level and store it within a rotating vertical rack structure, stacking dozens of cars in the footprint of a single standard parking space. You drive onto the ground-level platform, exit the vehicle, and the system takes over. A mechanical pallet lifts the car into the rotating rack and positions it in an available slot. When you return, you present your ticket, the system locates your car, rotates it back to ground level, and delivers it within minutes. The car never moves through a conventional parking structure. You never search for a space, navigate a tight ramp, or return to find your car blocked in. The entire process is mechanical, and the outcome is guaranteed every time. In cities where land is too valuable to dedicate significant ground area to surface parking, Japan built a system that parks dozens of cars in the space where a conventional car park would fit 3. Number 6. Restaurants that serve in minutes. Japan's standing ramen and soba counters, conveyor belt restaurants, and ticket machine dining formats collectively produce a restaurant category where the time between arriving and eating is measured in minutes rather than the extended sequence of being seated, receiving menus, ordering, and waiting that standard restaurant service requires. You enter, select your meal from a ticket machine or a simple menu, hand over your ticket, and food arrives within minutes. In standing format restaurants, the entire visit from entry to exit takes under 15 minutes. In conveyor belt formats, the food is already moving past you before you've settled into your seat. The speed does not compromise the quality. The ramen has been simmered for hours. The sushi is cut fresh. The efficiency is in the service format rather than the food preparation. Japan recognized that speed and quality are not mutually exclusive in a restaurant, and built entire dining formats that deliver both simultaneously for anyone who needs a genuinely good meal without the time investment of a conventional sit-down service. Number 7. Covered walkways for dry commutes. Japan's covered shopping arcades, station-connected underground walkways, and building-to-building canopy systems create continuous dry pedestrian routes through city centers that allow significant portions of a daily commute or shopping trip to be completed without exposure to rain, summer heat, or winter cold. The coverage ranges from the full underground networks of major cities that connect stations, department stores, and office buildings through climate-controlled corridors to the simpler Shotengai arcade streets with permanent canopy roofs that keep rain off pedestrians moving through shopping districts. In a country that experiences both heavy seasonal rainfall and extreme summer heat, the covered walkway is not a luxury addition to urban infrastructure. It is the logical conclusion of designing a city for the people who live in it rather than for the vehicles that pass through it. Japan built the weather out of the daily commute by covering the routes people actually use and produced city environments where rain stops being a reason to change your plans. Number 8. Food that matches the packaging. Japan legally requires that food served in restaurants and sold in packaging looks substantially similar to the photograph used to advertise it, treating the gap between the advertised product and the actual one as a consumer protection issue rather than an accepted feature of food marketing. The result is that when you buy a burger, a bento box, or a convenience store sandwich in Japan, what arrives on the tray or inside the packaging reflects what you were shown when you made the decision to buy it. Ingredients are in position. Portions reflect the image. The product has been assembled with the photograph in mind. The gap between the advertised product and the plate is so universal everywhere else that it has become a cultural joke. Japan decided it wasn't funny and built the standard into consumer protection law instead. Buying food in Japan means knowing exactly what you are getting before you open it. Number 9. Public lockers everywhere. Japan's coin-operated locker network is installed at virtually every train station, shopping center, tourist attraction, and transit hub in the country, providing secure short-term storage for bags, luggage, and purchases at any hour without staff involvement, and at a price that makes using one a routine decision rather than a considered expense. You insert coins or tap an IC card, the locker opens, you store your item, collect your key or receipt, and retrieve it whenever you're ready. The transaction takes 30 seconds. The locker is available immediately without booking. For tourists managing luggage between checkout and departure, for shoppers who don't want to carry purchases through the rest of their day, and for commuters who need to store something temporarily, the locker network removes a logistical problem that in most other countries requires planning around. Japan treated short-term secure storage as infrastructure worth distributing everywhere people are likely to need it, and installed it so comprehensively that the problem of having no safe place to leave something simply doesn't arise. Number 10. Pre-portioned meal kits. Japan's supermarket and convenience store pre-portioned meal kit sections provide exactly measured ingredients for specific dishes in single or family-sized portions, with every component cleaned, cut, and packaged together so that the only step between buying the kit and eating the meal is the cooking itself. The vegetables are already cut to the correct size for the dish. The protein is already portioned. The sauce is already measured. The preparation time is reduced to the cooking process alone, and the waste is zero because nothing in the kit is surplus to the recipe. Japan's meal kit format predates the subscription delivery model that other countries adopted as an innovation and is operated as a standard supermarket product rather than a premium home delivery service, making it accessible as a daily convenience rather than a weekly commitment. Japan removed every step between buying ingredients and cooking with them, and made the result available at supermarket prices from the same shelf as the unportioned alternatives. Number 11. Wagyu beef at every price point. Japan's domestic Wagyu beef production system supplies genuine Wagyu in graded cuts across a price range wide enough that buying it for a regular weeknight meal is not a significant financial decision for most Japanese households. The grading system runs from A1 to A5 based on marbling, color, texture, and fat quality, with A5 representing the highest level of intramuscular fat and commanding premium prices. A3 and A4 cuts sit at accessible price points in every supermarket and provide a quality of eating experience that imported beef at comparable prices cannot match. The availability of genuine Wagyu as a routine supermarket product rather than a special occasion restaurant order is a direct result of Japan's domestic breeding program and the density of its production infrastructure. Japan built a beef production system sophisticated enough to put one of the world's finest meats on a supermarket shelf at a price that makes choosing it for dinner on a Tuesday a completely ordinary decision. Number 12. Blue gel cigarette ashtrays. Japan produces disposable blue gel ashtrays in the form of small open-top paper cups filled with blue absorbent crystal gel that extinguishes cigarette ends on contact, absorbs ash, neutralizes odor, and contains everything neatly within the cup until it's disposed of as a single sealed unit. You press the cigarette end into the blue gel, the ember dies immediately, and the ash and butt sit contained within the cup without any smoke, smell, or mess escaping. The gel absorbs everything. The cup stays clean on the outside. They are stackable, lightweight, and designed for use at outdoor events, restaurant tables, designated smoking areas, and anywhere a conventional ashtray would otherwise be needed. The blue gel makes the product visually distinct and immediately communicates that the cigarette is fully extinguished rather than smoldering in a standard ash pile. Japan designed a disposable ashtray that is cleaner, safer, and more visually appealing than a standard one, and made it available as a mass-market product that costs almost nothing per unit. Number 13. Stores that open and prepare your food. Japan operates a category of retail food store that occupies the space between a supermarket and a restaurant, selling ingredients that are prepared, portioned, and in many cases partially or fully cooked to order in front of the customer, so that buying food for dinner is a single visit that produces a meal rather than ingredients that still require significant preparation at home. Fish counters fillet and season your selection while you wait. Rotisserie and grilled meat sections portion and pack hot protein directly from the cooking equipment. Prepared vegetable sections provide components that need no further prep beyond reheating. The format works because Japan treats the time between buying food and eating it as a variable worth minimizing rather than an accepted feature of home cooking. You buy food that is ready to become a meal rather than ingredients that need to become food first, and the evening meal becomes a simpler proposition than the standard supermarket model produces. Number 14. Age simulation training for nurses. Japan developed age simulation suits used in nursing and care training programs that allow student nurses and healthcare workers to physically experience the sensory and physical limitations associated with aging by wearing a weighted restricted movement suit that replicates reduced joint mobility, impaired vision, hearing limitation, and decreased fine motor control simultaneously. You put on the suit, move through a standard care environment, and encounter every task from the perspective of the person you will be caring for. Opening a medicine bottle, navigating a corridor, communicating through reduced hearing, all of it experienced from inside the limitation rather than observed from outside it. The training outcome is a carer who understands the patient's daily physical reality from direct experience rather than clinical description. The empathy produced by wearing the suit for an hour is different in quality from the empathy produced by reading about the same limitations in a textbook. Japan built empathy into nurse training as a physical experience and produced healthcare workers who know what their patients feel because they have felt it themselves. If you want to see more amazing things Japan is doing better than the rest of the world, then like and subscribe. And make sure to watch the video on your end screen. It's packed with even more worldwide ideas.